They take my kindness for weakness, still coming out strong. Still coming out strong. Still coming out.
The house Negro, if the master say we got a good house here, the house Negro say, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, that house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today, because we still got some house niggers running around here.
Family, welcome to the last Irvington Unbound of 2017. It's the official newsletter of the Sheridanstba Block Association. I'm your host, Jay, and seriously, stay warm. This is multiple layer thermals and long johns. Climate change is not a hoax weather. Stay safe out there. Now let's get to it. In block news, we'll be aiming to get another IPD meeting on the docket, possibly late February, so be on the lookout for that. In local news, the mayoral race is off to a whimper. Team Irvington Strong has their posters up around town, and any opposition has yet to present itself, so it looks like smooth sailing for the incumbents. Let me put this to rest right quick. I have no intentions of running for anything that isn't congressman at this point, and even that isn't a burning desire. The process is crazy expensive, time-consuming, and far too judgmental. There are too many asses to kiss, and that's not really my style. I love the freedom that being an activist, journalist, organizer, personal trainer,
boxer, ascot, astronaut, imitation crusty, baby mover, trucker, hippie, dog driver, code critic, conceptual artist, street salesman, carny, mayor, drifter, bodyguard for the mayor, country western manager, garbage commissioner, mountain climber, farmer,
affords. If I'm a run, I want to be congressman. Everyone says that's too high of a mountain to climb, and I should run for school board or something like that. But by the time I would slit the necessary amount of throats to jump that line, my hands would have far too much blood on them. Play like everybody else and end up like everybody else. Corrupt as all hell while people suffer. Nah, no aspirations for mayor, and I'm willing to deal with the devil that I got. You know, unless someone pops up talking that end the poverty and the drug war ish, then bro, we gotta talk. It's the great paradigm. I despise the plantation and loathe what it's done to the community. Unfortunately, the only way to right these wrongs is to try and get through to those in masses' house. Anyways, on to the directors meeting. That was more attended than expected. Orange Park was a hot topic, with the camera system being brought up for discussion, along with a lack of IPD manpower to monitor the cameras, and the lack of cleaning up behind dogs. The administration says they'll be putting up signs. I just hope they're also in Spanish. The IPD are being dicks again, with an officer ticketing a gentleman and apparently giving a false badge number. Vehicular infractions also popped up a lot, with citizens voicing frustrations over municipal vehicles being parked in jacked up spots and municipal parking spaces being used inappropriately. There has clearly been a rash of burglaries in town, one even taking place at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We've been blessed as a block, but that doesn't mean we don't remain prepared. Lock every lock and cock every Glock. Mayor Voss was in the building. He spoke, asking residents to call the police when they see someone not picking up after their dog, somehow conflating it with the recent arrest and public dumping. We should just get a drone at this point. Not one of those drones, but a military-grade, drop-a-bomb from 300 miles in the sky drone to specifically monitor the 4 to 5 miles that is Irvington. Just a thought. In state news, Governor-elect Murphy has probably the most diverse cabinet ever. A sister is Attorney General. Well, she's been nominated. Props to her. But doesn't that make the planned Women's March here in New Jersey a moot point? Quick J-note, it's actually a beautiful illustration of a point that I've been trying to hammer home on this channel for a while now. As a collective, women can never be pleased, yet it is never them individually. There is always the next chick or simp right there in her ear to tell her some dumb shit that pits her emotions against her logic, and ladies love Kool-Aid. That's a reference to the last video, link in the description. And before you say how sexist what I just said is, of course there are exceptions, and equality, and yada yada yada. Now back to the news. A new report says that New Jersey's racial discrepancy in infant mortality is amongst the worst in the nation, with black babies 3 times more likely to die than whites. Lawmakers are claiming to look into it, but it's doubtful that government can solve a problem that government created. The state's minimum wage is increasing an entire 16 cents. So, don't spend it all in one place. Nationally, tax reform passed. Now everyone is trying to file tax early. Apple admitted to slowing down older phones. President Trump is holding DACA hostage to get funding for his border wall. Also, he has been going after Amazon, which honestly isn't terrible because they paid little to nothing in taxes. And the US military will begin accepting transgender recruits. Globally, the United States funding for the United Nations has been cut after 120 nations voted on a resolution calling for the US not to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. ISIS has been reportedly pushed back all throughout Iraq with substantive losses in manpower, as top US generals tell troops to be ready for war, which is the entire point of having a military, but this is more directed at North Korea. Quick urban equity, marijuana legalization update. The pushback has begun. The alcohol, prison, and multiple other lobbyists have begun their efforts to slow the process, including a symposium on the dangers of stoned driving. This is why having people who know nothing about a topic shouldn't be making laws about it, but that's amongst other issues that are at the forefront of the 2018 hit list. Family. Seriously. This has been amongst the most rewarding years of my life, personally. To be able to continue to deliver for the people of a town that is often overlooked and disregarded. One of the most frustrating things that I've often encountered is individuals that refuse to believe that I am actually from Irvington because I speak as if I have a modicum of intellect. But that's the reality, and it's frustrating knowing that the place that raised me is seen as lesser than it actually is. The rest of the world may not believe in Irvington, but I did in 2017, and I will continue to do so in 2018. Not just Irvington, but the people of Irvington. Not just Team Irvington Strong, but their opponents as well. Everybody. So, do all the YouTube things. Like, sub, share, speak, and I'll see you in 2018. Love.
Roscoe, you better leave town for Mr. Charlie and them crackers gon' fall for you. I'm like, man, fuck these crackers, man. It's Roscoe Patterson. Nigga, I don't give a fuck. I just don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? White man can eat a dick. Eat my balls, nigga. There he is. Get that nigger. Oh. Hi.